press actually has a very critical role to play, because you're the ones who are going to take the message back to the rest of the world that is waiting to hear, does anything come out of these summits? And, that's what we're all wondering. That's what we're all waiting for, is what is going to be the legacy of Rio 2012. I was here in 1992, 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. And the first day I was here this time, it came out right away that the document that's going to come out, the declaration, is not going to be anywhere near as ambitious as what came out 20 years ago. And, we're 20 years farther into a world of climate change. We're 20 years farther into a world where we are having societal problems because of needed for adaptation to climate change, where we're running out of food because of problems of climate change. This is a major challenge to humanity on so many more levels than just, birds and trees. This is about our very survival. So, I'm here, I came in support of Free Canada, which is a civil society group. It's the first summit initiative in Canada, a coalition of different organizations, to try and affect our own Canadian delegation, as well as do what we can to support the civil society voice around the world. And it's very important for us as Canadians, because currently we feel that our government isn't taking this rightful leadership role in the global conversation and action for sustainability. It's very troubling to us that our Canadian government just pulled us out of the Kyoto Accord, even though in 1998 we were one of the first countries that signed on to this document. I think this reality that a country can sign a declaration or a protocol or an internationally binding agreement and then just leave it with no consequence, I think this signals a crisis in the governance. And that is the conversation that I really hope comes out of Rio. We need an honest conversation about who is leading humanity forward. This conference on environment and development, this is an opportunity to address not just the economy, not just issues of poverty, not just issues of environment and sustainability. This is the opportunity to address this question of where are we going as a human race. And we are not seeing that leadership, and we need to start to question this structure and who is actually leading our humanity forward. Thank you very much. Thank you, Severn.
So I'm here really as a babysitter. I got Severn started with 1 sperm, and I had a lot of fun doing it. So now I'm here in a support way for her to carry on her message. The power of Severn's speech 20 years ago was that she spoke as a child without any hidden agenda. She spoke from her heart, and that's why her words had such a powerful impact. But coming here 20 years later, I think you've really identified a major problem of governance. Because who is here today that was in a position of power and leadership 20 years ago? They're all gone. So they make or do not make decisions, and then no one's accountable. No one holds them to account for whether their words actually are implemented. So it's a great frustration. I just heard an electrifying talk by Evo Morales. And what Evo is saying, this is the president of Bolivia, the poorest country in South America, and what he's saying is that we cannot continue within the same worldview in which we look out and the whole world is ours. It's there for us to use in any way we can, so that we simply have to monetize everything, including nature itself. It simply doesn't work in the long run. We need to shift the way we see ourselves. And the way I show what we're caught up in, I'm sure you've all heard, we have to deal with 3 things. That's the economy, the society, and the environment. And they're represented with circles of the same size, and they all overlap. And where all 3 overlap the same area, that's the sweet spot. Because if you work in that area, you get a triple bottom line. You benefit the economy, you benefit society, you benefit the environment. Nothing could be more destructive than that concept of the triple bottom line. Who would ever say the economy is as big as society, and that society is as big as the environment? But that's the way we see the world now. These are 3 equal-sized areas. The reality, the real world that Evo Morales is telling us about is that you have one big circle, which is the biosphere. That's a zone of air, water, and land where all life exists. And within that are 10 to 30 million smaller circles. That's the 10 to 30 million species that occupy the biosphere with us. But if you look at it today, one of those circles is now 40% of within the big circle. That's us. We, one species out of 10 to 30 million, are now taking over what's called the net primary productivity of the planet. That's all of the sunlight captured by plants through photosynthesis. That energy is what drives life on Earth. And humans have taken over 40% of it. And that's what's driven other species to extinction. And we want to keep our economy expanding beyond 40%. It's suicidal. So obviously within that kind of a framework, humans have too big a space within the biosphere and it has to be shrunk. And within the human circle, the economy should be a small part of that. But we've elevated the economy to the same size as society, which is elevated to the same size as the environment. And that's suicidal. It simply won't work. And continuing along the line that we're seeing negotiated here, whether it's a green economy or not, is simply carrying on the same fundamental destructive path. So that's a challenge. Can we switch the way we see ourselves? As Indigenous people see us as part of Mother Nature. If the world is indeed our mother, we sure aren't treating her the way we would treat our biological mother.
Thank you so much. Now we see that Severn is his father's daughter. So we're